Hi, I'm Sharon. Welcome to my Theory Tuition series where I'll lead you step by step through the ABRSM theory grades. You need to have the ABRSM Music Theory and Practice workbook. We're working through grade 1 at present and we're on to section F. I've loads of resources available to help you to work through this on my website. If you go to sharonbill.com, you'll find some free PDF information sheets that are available in US letter or A4 to accompany each set of this series, which links, you'll also find links to my YouTube video tutorials, and you can also gain access to information about the books I've got available. There's a book that I've got available which will help you to make the most of your ABRSM exam experience with lots of tips and techniques for taking the exam, which ultimately is what this series is working towards, helping you to get the best marks, working through these booklets and understanding thoroughly all of these aspects of music theory. So we're cracking on with section F. This is the first part, and if you turn in your workbook to page 10, and so we're looking at time values a little bit further, we're just extending our knowledge. So I'll just write F there to show that we're working in relation to sheet F in the PDF download. And we're extending the knowledge that you already gained in section A. So if you turn back to your sheet A, you can see that we've already dealt with these notes here. We've dealt with semibreves, minims, crotchets and quavers. And now if you just jump to page F, you can see that we're now extending that from quavers to also semiquavers, or we could say eighth notes extending into 16th notes. Each time we extend, we halve the note value and we double the number of notes that will fit into a whole. And so we have our whole note or our semibreve, which is worth 4 beats. You can see all of the note values are listed here. These are the classical names, and these are the sort of the rock pop American names. It depends which instrument you perhaps intending to play, which one you become more familiar with using. Just choose one of those systems and stick to it. And so we have the 4-beat note, which divides into two 2-beats, which divides again, and so each one of these is worth 1 beat, which divides into each of these, which is worth half a beat, and then we divide again now into each one of these being a quarter of a beat in duration. And so we would say this is our whole, or we could say semibreve, which divides into 2 halves, or we would say minims, which divides again into quarters, so we have 4 quarters, or we would call those crotchets, which divides again into these half beat notes. We've got 8 half beats into the whole, or we would say quavers, and then we divide again into these 16th notes. We have 16 quarter beats in the time value of a semibreve or a whole note, which is 4 beats. Now there's quite a lot going on here. Now these are very, very busy rhythms, and so you might find it helpful to just break it down into a unit. So we have a 1 beat, which we call a crotchet or a quarter note, which divides into 2 halves. So they are half a beat each. And if we divide again, we've got 4 quarter beats in a single beat. It's just perhaps easier to see the breakdown in a single beat there. So you might just want to just annotate your copy to understand that a little bit more thoroughly. And so in this video, we're just going to look at exercises 1 and 2 to just start to get a handle on these 16th notes, or you would call it a semiquaver. So you just choose which term you are familiar with using. So it's either a semiquaver or a 16th note. And now we're looking at the relationship between all of these note values. And so it's entirely up to you whether you prefer to look at it the maths way, where you're looking at the way the maths subdivides into each other, or if, like me, maths is not your strong point, I prefer to also have this visual aid here to just help me to visualize the relationship between these note values. And so, just like we did in section A, we're now going to look at how the relationship of these note values works together, but we're now doing it thinking about this semiquaver or this 16th note. So perhaps if you just take a moment using sheet F to help you, and just press pause, have a go at exercise 1, use pencil, so it doesn't matter if you make a mistake. If you make something wrong, it doesn't matter, you can erase it. It's always better to learn by your mistakes and then re-access into the video and we'll work through it together once you've had a go. And so now, under the assumption that you've had a go yourself, and please don't just work through with me, it really won't help you ultimately to just copy what I do. You need to think about this for yourself. It's okay to make mistakes, don't worry, you probably learn better by making a few mistakes and you will learn as you go along. Let's have a look at this exercise 1 on page 10. So they've given us a starting point saying a semiquaver, 2 semiquavers fit into 1 quaver, or an 8th note lasts as long as 2 16th notes. We know that that is worth a half a beat, they are worth a quarter of a beat, so we get 2 quarters of a beat in 1 half. Although if, like me, you find that a little bit boggling, you can easily see that 1 half a beat divides into 2 quarter beats. And so it's easy to visualise it that way as well. And so now, using that knowledge but extending it a little bit further, we need to answer this question. A crotchet or a quarter note lasts as long as how many 16th notes or semiquavers? So we know that that's worth 1 beat, that's worth a quarter of a beat. So mathematically, 4 quarters make 1. Or alternatively, you can visualise that a 1 beat divides into 2 halves or 4 quarters. And so you can see that our answer here is 4. Now, progressing further on, we can just look at that and double it, because we know that that is worth 1 beat, this is worth 2 beats. So if there are 4 semiquavers or 16th notes in this note, this crotchet or quarter beat, we can therefore extrapolate that there are double the amount in this one, so the answer will be 8. Mathematically though, if you think, there are 8 quarters in 2 whole beats. Or alternatively, you can see that there are 4 quarters to 1 beat, and so therefore you can see that there are 8 quarters in a 2 beat note. You can see there how it divides up. And so if we go again, we've doubled again, so now we've got a 4 beat note will last as long as how many semiquavers or 16th notes. So this is 4 beats. If there are 4 quarters in 1, there are 4 times as many in a 4 beat note, so 4 4s are 16. Alternatively, you can see that as we keep subdividing, we can see that there are 16 quarters, 16 quarter beats in a 4 beat duration. And that's where perhaps this sort of pop rock name of 16th note is helpful, because we already know that there are 16 notes to a whole. So there are 16 quarter beats to 4 beats. So you just got to get your maths brain on a little bit there. Keep referring to sheet F until you get a bit more accustomed to just jumping between those note values. And so now, just like we did before in section A, we need to now complete each of these bars where an asterisk shows us that we've got a gap. Remember, we need to check what our time signature is before we even start. There should be 3 beats in a bar here. So I'll work through this first one with you, and then you can just press pause and try these next few yourself before we check them together. So there should be 3 beats in a bar. Let's just annotate what we've got already. That is worth 2. That is worth a half. And that is worth a quarter. So far we have 2 and 3/4 beats. We should have 3 beats, so we're a quarter of a beat missing. And so we need another one of these notes here. Don't worry too much about making it look pretty. Just get your 2 little lines there. Actually, I'll just do that again because my note head went a bit wobbly. Let's try again. It's always good to work in pencil. There we go, that's better. Okay, so you have a go at the rest of exercise 2 and then we'll work through the answers together once you've had a go. And so now let's carry on and we'll mark through these together. If you've made a mistake, don't worry, just rub it out and try again. So we should be adding up to 4 beats here, 4 crotchet beats. So here this is worth 2. This one is worth a quarter. This one also is worth a quarter. This is worth a half. This is worth a half. And so altogether, half plus half is 1. 2 quarters make a half. So we've got 1 1/2 plus 2 means we've got 3 1/2. So we need another half a beat to complete that to 4. And so we need one of those. There we go. So we just need a quaver or an 8th note. Okay, this next bar isn't quite so busy. We've only got 2 beats to make up this time. So far we've got a 1 here, we've got a quarter here, and we've got a quarter here. And so added up together we've got 1 1/2. It should be 2, so we're half a beat short. So if we put a half beat in, there we are, we've got an 8th note or a quaver, whichever you call it, that's half a beat. Keep checking your sheet F if you're not sure, just to remind yourself of those note values. And that bar is now complete. So the last one, exercise 2D, it's quite a busy bar, so let's just make a few notes to see what we've got here. We've got a half, and then we've got a quarter. Then we've got a quarter. So actually, we can see already we've got 1 beat there. We've got 1 beat there. And then we've got a quarter, and a quarter. So you can see we've got 1, 2, and 3/4 beats. We just need 1 more quarter to complete that bar to make it add up to 3. This is a quarter of a beat, so we need a 16th note or a semiquaver, and that's complete. So you just have to get your maths brain on a little bit, but you'll soon get the hang of it. Don't worry if you make a mistake, just have another go, erase it and try again, and just try and understand where it is that you've gone wrong. Do keep referring back to this sheet until you feel a little bit more versatile with all these note values. I hope that's been helpful to you. I hope you've enjoyed that. Thanks for watching. If you can give me a like and a subscribe, that way you'll keep updated. And please do go to sharonbill.com to access those information sheets and all the other resources available to you. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.